Most people think this is a children's story, but that's exactly why they misunderstand it. Today, you'll not only practice advanced English, but also explore a story that reveals how people lose meaning over time. Once, there was a little prince who lived on a planet barely bigger than himself. His world was simple. He had 3 volcanoes and 1 single rose. But that rose was not easy to live. She was demanding. She was proud. She often said things that made no sense. And because of that, the prince began to doubt his feelings. Instead of trying to understand, he chose to leave. He traveled across the universe, visiting one planet after another. On the first planet, he met a king who believed he ruled everything, even things he could not control. On another, he met a man desperate for admiration, who needed constant validation. Then he met a businessman who spent his entire life counting stars, believing he owned them. None of them were truly living. They were trapped in their own illusions. Finally, the prince arrived on Earth. There, he met the fox, and the fox introduced him to something he had never fully understood: connection. The fox said, "You become responsible forever for what you have tamed." At first, this idea felt heavy. Responsibility means commitment. It means presence. It means care. Slowly, the prince realized something painful. He had abandoned his rose not because she was difficult, but because he was immature. Love is not simple. It requires patience, attention, understanding, and most importantly, time. When he looked at a garden full of roses, he understood they all looked the same, but none of them were his. His rose was special because of the time he had invested in her. In the end, he didn't learn something new. He remembered something he had forgotten. The story explores a central contradiction. People want connection, but avoid responsibility. They want love, but resist the effort it requires. The adults in the story represent different forms of scope, control, validation, productivity, distraction. None of these bring meaning. Meaning comes from connection, and connection requires vulnerability. That's why the fox is essential. It teaches that meaning is not found, it is created. Now, answer in English. Why do people avoid emotional responsibility? Do you think love requires sacrifice? Why? What is more important, freedom or connection? If you can follow this level of explanation, you are already operating beyond intermediate English. If you want to keep developing this level, subscribe and train your English with depth every day.